Attorney General Ken Paxton is suing Johnson & Johnson over claims that the pharmaceutical giant knew about the links between autism and Tylenol. This is Wednesday, October 29th, 2025.
Texas Scorecard presents the day's first news for the Lone Star State. The Texas Minute, with your host, Michael Quinn Sullivan.
We're halfway through the week. Thanks for spending part of your Wednesday with the Texas Minute. As a reminder, early voting is continuing through Friday ahead of next week's general election, featuring 17 proposed amendments to the Texas Constitution. You can get more information on those by visiting texasscorecard.com. Let's get into today's news. In a lawsuit filed against Johnson & Johnson and Kenvue, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton is accusing the pharmaceutical giants of deceptively marketing Tylenol to pregnant women. According to Paxton, there's been long-standing evidence that the drug's active ingredient may increase the risk of autism and other developmental disorders in unborn children. Here's Paxton talking to Kenny Webster on the W&J show.
They spun off Tylenol brand to another company trying to avoid liability and didn't properly capitalize the company they spun off. Obviously, they knew there was a problem, or at least a risk of a big problem, so they spun it off so that there would be no liability to the main company, Johnson & Johnson. So we know that was an issue for them. They just were trying to avoid any type of liability to the people that were harmed.
Kenvue has strongly disputed the lawsuit's claims and defended the safety of their drug. The company pledged to, quote, vigorously defend itself against the lawsuit. Paxton's action comes on the heels of President Donald Trump and the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services having announced last month new research initiatives and federal funding to investigate the potential risks of using acetaminophen during pregnancy. As energy prices continue to increase, there are concerns about how Texas lawmakers' solution for the Permian Basin's energy shortage has morphed thanks to a state agency's maneuvering into a $33 billion statewide transmission plan. As you might guess, this is going to mean big costs being passed on to ratepayers. At issue is legislation passed back in 2023 to bypass renewable energy requirements and extend transmission service in the Permian Basin, where it's projected that electrical loads would be underserved. That's because the region has heavy oil and gas development, cryptocurrency mining operations, data centers, and hydrogen electrolysis facilities. Republican State Representative Charlie Guerin of Fort Worth was adamant that the Permian Basin Reliability Plan be kept separate from a larger statewide push. The Electric Reliability Council of Texas, though, had other ideas. It and the Public Utilities Commission have moved forward with a program going far beyond what the legislature had authorized. Agents with U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement detained 3 men in a Pasadena neighborhood outside Houston this week following an hours-long operation that drew protests from residents and activist groups. After following several men from a nearby gas station, ICE agents surrounded a home where the men were staying. Video posted online showed officers from multiple agencies establishing a perimeter while protesters gathered outside and shouted at law enforcement. The men were eventually arrested without incident. This came as immigration agents across the country face growing hostility from activist groups and violent attacks on ICE facilities. According to the Department of Homeland Security, there has been an 830% increase in attacks on ICE officers compared with the same period last year. The Texas Minute will be right back.
But every day I run into something that I'm dealing with the county judge.
Judge Bray recused himself, but as we'll soon see, he couldn't resist reinserting himself into the process.
Signing notices, setting deadlines, accepting candidate applications, rejecting candidate applications. The dispute that ensued thereafter was centered on whether or not Judge Bray had the authority to do those things or should have been doing those things.
Head over to TexasScorecard.com today to watch our latest documentary, Kicking the Circle.
The The legal battle over West Texas A&M's drag show ban has taken a new turn after the U.S. Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals agreed to rehear their case en banc, that is, before all 17 active judges on the appellate court. Back in August, a 3-judge panel had temporarily blocked the university's drag show ban in a lawsuit brought by an LGBT group. The lawsuit originated in 2023 when West Texas A&M President Walter Windler canceled a drag show that was to be held on campus. He said at the time that drag shows are, quote, derisive, divisive, and demoralizing towards womanhood. Regents of the Texas A&M system banned drag performances on all their campuses following a similar controversy on the main College Station campus. That system-wide ban is also on hold following a ruling from U.S. District Judge Lee Rosenthal. Oral arguments in the West Texas A&M case are expected to be held in early 2026. You can follow all the stories mentioned today and keep up with the latest news by visiting TexasScorecard.com. This edition of the Texas Minute was produced by Riley Edwards and based on the original reporting of Sidney Henry, Paige Field, and Michael Wilson. I look forward to seeing you out around the Lone Star State. Now go make it a great day.